Well, it's time for another gardening week and it is gorgeous. I don't normally come down to the allotment first thing in the morning. I normally go to Caffè Nero and chill out and do some work there, but today I just couldn't resist coming down early, and I'm very busy with the building work project as well. So yeah, I thought I'd just tell you a few things that have happened this week. So I've harvested these two beds here of potatoes. There was 6 in the one behind me and there was 5 seeds in the one next to me, and I harvested 25 pounds of potatoes from this bed, and I harvested 20 pounds of potatoes from this bed. So it was the one with 6 seed potatoes that didn't give quite as good a harvest, and they're pretty much identical, but I was pretty pleased. I mean, £5 per tuber for second earlies is a pretty great harvest, and as you can see, they're all a great size. You know, they're all first class kind of well, not all, but 80% of them are for sort of first class baking potatoes. So yeah, absolutely thrilled with that. Not quite so thrilled with the condition of the leaves on the cucumbers. I've had to take them all off. There was kind of some evidence of pests on these, you know, those little tiny spiders, but they weren't red spider mite, they were something different. Anyway, I've taken them off. I actually generally have to do that every year, and it's amazing how they kind of spring back to life. I mean, there's still good new quality leaves up here, of course, which are driving the growth, but both of those got a good trim. So after that little bit of not so good news, it's nice to have some really good news. And if you notice, these tomatoes are starting to ripen. So I think they're only a few days away now, and there's some down there and some down there. In fact, it's all a kind of orangey colour, sort of gradually developing all the way down here. So I've mentioned before, I'm sure, that these are primarily paste potatoes for cooking, so we don't really mind when they ripen. But some of these trusses, like this one and this one, these are eating. And these are really quite magnificent trusses on here. I'll put the variety up for you in overlaid. And it's really nice to see these starting to come through, because the tumblers and the red profusion, they're looking a bit bedraggled. I mean, they've still got masses of tomatoes on them, but the plants themselves are looking a bit bedraggled. All this continuous rain on them, I think, is just not so good for them. Anyway, we've got these in reserve, so I'm not worried about that. And I thought I'd continue the good news theme and look at this bed that we planted last week. Lettuce and turnips, radicchio and spinach, and in the main it's looking really good. I did have to put a few slug pellets down because there was a lot of slugs and snails underneath the onions that had been here previously, and I think it's mainly done its job. There's a few slugs that I've had to take out. I can actually see one snail down there. So it is kind of worth checking these beds as frequently as you can for any sort of damage to the leaves, because we are pretty dependent now on this lettuce crop in this bed. We're very short of lettuce at the moment, and yeah, it's kind of highly prized, every lettuce leaf. Now, long-term viewers might remember that last year I was really excited because we got blossom on this plum tree for the first time. It's quite a big tree, but it hadn't fruited. Anyway, nothing came of that blossom last year, but we got blossom again this year, and I've actually managed to harvest some plums. The first plums off this tree. I'm so delighted to say they were absolutely gorgeous. You know, I grew up with plum trees in my family's little orchard, and you know, I love them so much that I can't really eat plums from the shops. because they just taste so, well, just so subpar. But yeah, these remind me of my youth. And so finally, I'll just mention that in my newsletter this week, which you can find at steverichards.substack.com or linked in the description down below, I've got a bit of discussion on the whole idea of the ideal date, sowing date, which is pretty relevant at this time of year. So if you want to subscribe to that newsletter, then I highly encourage you to do so. There's loads of great information in it. And yeah, I'll see you there. So I think that is pretty much it for my gardening week. I've been pretty busy on other things, one of which is actually just having a bit of a rest and getting out and doing some cycling along the coast. And that has been lovely. It's something that I've really missed while we've been doing this building project, which is pretty much finished. So you might see a little bit on that next week if we can manage to film something between the rain showers. And so let's just take a look at the harvest. So let's do a quick harvest rundown. So we've got a little bit of Calabrese side shoots. In fact, those plants are doing really well. We've had loads of side shoots off them. We've had 2 boxes off them this week, and there's new ones to pick next week as well, so that's pretty good. And just enough runner and French beans to keep us going. And red cabbage, courgettes, zephyr courgettes, 1 ball. Centre cut, like a courgette. Centre cuts and more centre cuts. That's what happens when you leave them. But they're great, you know, they're not all like watery like a courgette. All that is nice solid flesh there. Plums, got plums. Absolutely delighted to have plums off my tree for the first time. And apples, started to get a few apples. First watermelon. I'm not quite sure whether this is ready or not, but it's kind of quite hollow sounding. And the tendril had dried up. But then most of the rest of the plant had died as well, so I just kind of pick it now or just leave it to rot. Beetroot, carrots, absolutely gorgeous carrots. And not too many brassicas really at the moment because it's not really brassica eating time, and we've got that red cabbage as well. So parsnips, absolutely loads of parsnips at the moment, really nice. So I've done a few more parsnips this year than I normally do. And of course we've got red onions, we've got white onions, we've got shallots, we've got garlic, we've got salad onions, always got to have plenty of alliums. We started picking the cooking tomatoes, and of course loads and loads of cherry tomatoes. So Debbie has been busy making passatas, and she's also made quite a lot of pickled shallots. Cucumbers, plenty of those of course, although I think they might be slowing down a little bit actually, the cucumbers. Just little red onions, I like to pop these in the salad mixes and the salad mixes, so I'm just going to make those salad mixes up now so you can see what they finish up with. Did I mention that we've got the golden purslane as well? So yeah, quite a nice table, as I'm always going on about trying to moderate the harvests in summer so that we get a full-size table like this every week of the year. And peppers, this is not the year of abundant peppers, that's for sure. So I hope you like this quick video. My name's Steve, this is the Seaside Kitchen Garden and Allotment channel, and I'm going to harvest some strawberries for my breakfast.